Are there 1,000 of you going together? Well, you know what? The sweetness and the love and the energy that you put out, that you give as your gift, is pushed down, multiplied, and overflowing. And so, in the universal scheme of things, I know that there is 1,000 of you. Oh my gosh, our very own co-seekers. I am always, I'm always happy. I'm very blessed to be able to say that I am always happy. But I am especially happy when the co-seekers are here.
Thank you.
Yay!
It's our pleasure.
What am I going to do with you? I think I'd like you better on this side. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Welcome to Everyday Center for Spiritual Living, where we empower each other to live joy-filled lives
Every day.
every day. Every day. And we can do that. Why? We can do that because we're new every day. Inside, outside, we're new every day. And yes, today we are talking about rain, frost. Why? What we're really talking about is change. And aren't we just thrilled when change happens? Aren't we just overjoyed when change happens? Whether we're expecting it or not, sometimes we know that change is going to happen. We have lots of advance notice that change is going to happen, and it doesn't necessarily matter. It still might feel a little uncomfortable. We still might feel a little ill at ease or uncertain about it. And when change happens out of the blue, then it really tests our mettle. So, how do we work with that so that change is our friend? Well, Carol gave us a clue. In our affirmation today, it ended with, before she said, and so it is, it ended with, my life is an adventure. Adventure. And what does adventure require in order for us to really get into it? For us to really be excited about it being an adventure. What does that require? Curiosity. Gold star, Patty. Curiosity. Trust. What else? Openness. Courage. Surrender. Ah. Surrender. So there were these two monks that were just taking a nice stroll along this river, and they came upon this woman who was needing to cross the river, and she was very afraid because the river was going so fast, and she was quite certain she couldn't cross the river by herself. So one of the monks picked her up and carried her across the river and put her safely down, and then he returned to the side of the river that he was originally on, and the two monks carried on with their walk. And he noticed along the way that his companion was kind of bothered by something. He wasn't saying anything, but he was definitely bothered. And he said to his companion, "What's going on? What's bothering you?" And he said, "Well, you know that we aren't supposed to touch women. So how could you carry that woman across the river?" And he said, "Well, I put her down on the other side of the river way back there. How come you're still carrying her?" Surrender. When do we really let things go? Change comes in all kinds of ways, doesn't it? And even the news of the change itself can be welcome. And then it can be followed by an "oh God." Sort of like the boy hanging from the side of the cliff. When we learned that our house had sold in Southern California in 3 days, there's the, "Oh, isn't that great?" And then there's the, "Oh crap, we have to get ready to move." Especially since they wanted a fast escrow. They wanted us to be out in 30 days. And we weren't just moving from Burbank to North Hollywood. We were moving to Santa Fe, which required, first of all, finding a place to live. And there's two ways to approach that, of course, because we could have found a place to live before we put the house on the market. But then there's always the question about, well, what if the house takes a while to sell, right? So there's all these things to consider. What I know for sure is that when our recognition and trust of the guidance that is always unfolding in our lives is very present in our awareness, that underneath all of those human reactions and questions is that voice. And whether it's saying let go, or it's saying trust, or it's saying put one foot in front of the other and one thing in a box at a time, and know that you will have all of the help that you need. Whatever the guidance is that's coming through, one of the things that guidance, that wisdom that is our own. It is coming from within us. One of the things it is not saying is worry. Be afraid. Be very afraid. No. It is reminding us that whatever is going on, and I'm pointing at Jean, who is on Facebook. Hi, Jean. Jean always says, I can handle this. And we forget sometimes to reassure ourselves. We get all in an inner kerfuffle about what's going to happen and what am I going to do, and when all we can do anyway is put one foot in front of the other. That's all we can do anyway. That's the best we can do anyway. And it's no small thing. If we think back, whether we can remember our own childhood, when we were first figuring out how to stand and walk, or we have friends in our life, they're around to remind us of what this is like. You know, they're really not trying to put more than one foot in front of the other. They're excited as all get out if they can stand, hold their balance, and do that. Right?
Mm-hmm.
We grow up and we want everything all explained and laid out and explained and laid out for us from the get-go. When I was talking about our life being an adventure, and Patty came up with the word curiosity, that is also, in my opinion, the thing that is lacking when we are dealing with any kind of change. Because we're too busy trying to figure stuff out without just staying in the question and making room for the change to reveal answers, to reveal possibility, to reveal our direction, to reveal the invitation that the change presents. Just because there's a change doesn't mean we have to go along with it, right? Just because there's a change, just because our household in 3 days and they wanted a 30-day escrow, we could have said, sorry, we don't have a place to live yet. And they could have said, sorry, if this isn't a deal, we don't have a deal, and we would have started over, right?
Yep.
But where our minds go is, oh my God, if I don't accept this deal, I might get another deal. Oh my God. have done that. And what we did do was we trusted the process. We started looking for a place to live. The perfect place found us. And I say it that way because the very last house I saw when I came in for a long weekend, and I was planning to see all these houses on the weekend, and there were no houses to be seen because for some reason, maybe it was that time of year, there were no realtors working on the weekend. Anyway, so the day I was leaving to go back to LA, I saw 12 houses on my way to the airport. And the very last house I saw was the house. And I knew it before I got anywhere near the house because of the way it felt on the way. There was just this yummy invitation that I could feel on the way to the house. Curiosity. Even if we are feeling fear, ill at ease about something, looking at whatever we are feeling the fear about, looking at what we're feeling the ill ease about with curiosity, invites it to communicate with us in an entirely different way. And it actually kind of quiets the fear, because the fear is about what we're imagining. What we're imagining is going to happen, what we're imagining isn't going to happen, what we're imagining might happen, might not happen, or happen doubly bad, or happen triply good, or whatever. What we're imagining is what we're afraid of. And I'm not saying that there isn't some reality there. I'm not saying that whatever we're feeling fear about isn't possible. What I'm saying is that it's important to remember it's not the only option. Mm-hmm. And if we're looking for other options, we have to be curious. Well, what if? What if I could do this? What if it could be easy? Asking ourselves what if questions and actuating the positive. I love that song. Accentuating the positive. Now, some of you may think that accentuating the positive sounds like magical thinking, not being realistic. You know what? We're all realistic enough to last us and hundreds of thousands of other people a lifetime. Accentuating the positive is staying curious enough to find it. What are the possibilities here? What delicious thing might I participate in or get to be a part of or create that I just am open to, as Martha said, I'm receptive. I mean, you know, it's important to set boundaries. Now, where is she going with this? What's that got to do with curiosity? And it's important to set boundaries. And what I'm talking about really now is reaction. Because when we're in reaction, which for nobody in this room, but some people we know certainly, when we're in reaction, we are invested in that reaction and in whatever comes to mind because of that reaction. And it is typically knee-jerk, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It typically, a reaction comes up without us even thinking about it. But reactivity, even though it can be our friend, if we need it in certain circumstances, typically it is not our friend. Because it distracts us completely from possibility. And it takes us, now we may think being in reaction keeps us in the moment, but no. It doesn't keep us in the moment. It takes us into what ifs. It takes us down the road of all of the ways things can go sideways. Because if this happened, then this could happen, and this could happen, and this could happen. And I guarantee you that none of those thises are good. That was a funny sentence. So if we're going to set boundaries around being in reaction, what that means to me is if we are having a reaction, give it a time limit. Because if we're already in it, it's not like we can say, even though this is the way our philosophy was taught for a long time, cancel, cancel, cancel. It doesn't work. It's like telling a baby that's already crying to not cry. That doesn't work either. If we're already in reaction, honor the reaction. You want to disempower a reaction? Give it attention. Oh, hello. I was listening to, I listen all the time to this one station on Sirius that is Broadway music, because I'm a huge Broadway fan. And I have no idea who the artist was who was singing, but both of the times that I was in the car yesterday coming and going from here, I was listening to his music. And it wasn't from a Broadway show, maybe a one-man show. I don't know. But one of the things in his lyrics that he said was that he was looking forward to something, and then he interrupted himself and he said, "Oh, hello, doubt. How are you doing today?" So, giving our reaction our attention rather than trying to either talk ourselves out of it or move our mind to something else without giving it attention, we are paying attention to our natural feeling inside. And I don't know about you, but if I'm saying something to someone and it feels important to me, and they start talking about something else, or they just walk away, or whatever it is, that doesn't feel very good. So, what I know about reactions is that they have the capacity to grow and to establish a mindset that is how things are going to go, how this is going to work out or not work out. It's like the young man, again, on the side of the Grand Canyon, where he couldn't imagine being safe by letting go. How can I let go and be safe? Well, the answer to that question is we don't know. We don't know how it is that we can let go of a thought, a feeling, a person that where we would be better off if we let go of them and their thing. We don't know, but we can certainly be curious. And we can trust that we are okay. Because we can check in at the moment with ourselves. How is everybody right now?
Cold.
I think there's one coming.
Yay for Jackie.
So, asked and answered. But we're all sitting here, and if we can keep our minds on the fact that we're sitting here, not wherever our minds may have been a minute ago, we're sitting here, we're safe, right? We have every reason to believe that the very next thing that we're going to do will still be safe, right? And taking one step at a time helps to bring us to that awareness. Because we're not off imagining down the road somewhere where we haven't even been. Ernest Holmes emphasized in our philosophy that while imagining outcomes that we desire is an important part of helping prepare ourselves to welcome them into our lives. If we aren't in the present, we aren't living. Because we're constantly somewhere else. And so wherever we are is not really getting the fullness of our attention, not really getting the fullness of our presence. And what I know for sure is that whether it's rain or frost, or wind, or a beautiful day like this, it deserves the fullness of our awareness. Because we don't want to miss one breath, one single opportunity